Okay, so this is why I believe sadness isn't real and why I think depression isn't real, anxiety, none of that stuff is actually real, and how you can be permanently happy, pretty much. I actually don't believe in happiness either, by the way, so let me start with that too. So, a lot of controversial things there. So, let me get started with why I first believe depression isn't real. The only reason you're sad right now, the reason you don't feel the way that you should be, right, is because you have that word in there, should. I should feel like this. I have to feel happy. I should feel happy. The thing is, we walk around the world every single day having these desires, right? And this is a big one. People always are just looking for some way to feel happy. It's just like, oh, doing this makes me feel good. Doing this makes me happy. Well, okay, let's go to the base level and define what happiness means. What does it mean to be happy? This is where we start stumbling, right? Because everybody has a different definition of happy. And if everyone has a different definition of something, then that means that there's no one single way to define it, right? I might define it as pleasure. You might define it as looking at a nice sunset. Someone else might define it as, I don't know, an amazing orgasm, right? There's just so much stuff you can define happiness as that there's no one single meaning for it. And so what happens to people who are especially depressed, they're sad, is right now you're dwelling in these feelings of sadness, right? Maybe something around you happened. Some event happened. Maybe it's over multiple years and you don't know what happened, what makes you feel this way, right? The only reason you feel this way is because you give power to happiness. If you have the desire to feel happy, there has to be a corollary to that. There has to be an opposite to happiness, which means there will be a sadness, right? And so if you feel sad right now, that means you were past, previous, happy at some point, which means right now you define yourself in a bad state of mind because you were at a better place in the past. Do you understand how stupid that sounds? Right? Right now you're giving power, whoever you give happiness to, whoever you give control over your emotions is who you give power to. And right now you're giving power to your younger self or to society, which says you have to be happy. You should feel good about where you are. When really there is no should. Just throw that to the side. What if right now, let's say for example, someone broke up with you? What if you didn't give power to that? The only reason you feel sad that someone broke up with you is because you give power to that person, right? Maybe you did spend a few months or a few years with that person, sure. But are you going to give them power now over your life after you guys have left each other? That's because you still have desires in your mind, right? You still have the desire, oh, we might get back. Oh, it might be better. Maybe it might work again, right? Oh yeah, I'll find someone better. You have all these desires in your head. What you need to do is eliminate desires entirely. This is why you feel depressed, because you have these desires that are being unfulfilled or were fulfilled in the past and you're not able to fulfill them now, right? If you're always looking for a peace or a sense of happiness, then you will never ever feel happy. Because when you want to be happy or when you are happy, then there has to be days where you are sad. And so the approach I have to this is just forget about happiness. Forget about depression. Just don't even think of it as a thing. And, I tell this to people and they're like, oh, you're too practical. You think too much in theoreticals. In the real world, humans have emotions. And sure, I understand that, right? That is what makes someone human, the ability to have emotions. But what if instead of saying that this makes me happy or this makes me depressed, how about we just accept, okay, events happen. How will I choose to see this, right? So let's say your girlfriend did break up with you, right? There's two ways you can see this right now. You can see it in, oh, she left me. I don't know what to do. I'm so sad. Or you can see it as, oh, she left me. I don't know what to do. I'm happy. There's two ways you can view any single situation, right? Let's give the worst situation possible, right? Your whole family was in a car crash. They were driving down the road and a big fat semi truck just came and rammed them and their bodies were just completely obliterated, right? I'm giving you the worst scenario example. Now someone might sit there and be like, that sucks. That's horrible. That's sad, right? That's horrible. But then someone after might also be sitting there like, wait, this is a chance for me to improve my emotional strength. Something did happen. Was it bad? I can say it's bad, right? Maybe it just happened, right? They just got into a car crash. Whether I say it's bad or it makes me sad or it makes me depressed is something I choose. Now, I'm not sitting here and saying that there's anything bad with being in those feelings, but most people usually associate sadness or depression with negativity, and happiness or something in like pleasurable in a positive sense. And the thing is, that's where the problem starts. You just need to see emotions as they are, not as a good or bad to achieve, but as something that happens, right? And you need to understand that these are things that you can control. When you're in the moment, when you stub your toe into the wall, you choose to swear at the wall. You don't need to do it. Next time when you stub your toe, just give the wall a hug. I'm so serious, like kiss the wall. No one's gonna say anything. The wall has no feelings, it has no emotions. It just sees the world. It just recognizes, oh, this guy stubbed his toe. It's no bad. There's also no good. And so this is why I think a lot of people who say they're depressed or they're sad or they're anxious just give power to different things, right? Depression is simply a lack of options. If you really think about it, depression is not having any options and not knowing what to do. Anxiety is having too many options and still not knowing what to do. They both end up at the same event of not knowing what to do. So I'll give you an example, right? Anxiety would be like you're at work and you have 10 different tasks. You're not sure which one to start. Oh no, this one sucks. This one's really hard. This one takes too long. And you're like, oh, but I still got to get them all done. Where do I start? That's anxiety. Depression would be, I just got laid off from work. No one's accepting my job offer. I have no path. So what is the solution to these two? They both have two separate solutions, right? So for depression, the solution for depression is to learn and read and go everywhere and learn as much as you can about that one topic, whatever you're struggling with, and find a solution to it, to have a decision, open up decisions for yourself, right? And once you have the open up decisions, then you'll go from being depressed to being anxious, right? And this comes the second solution of anxiety. So how do you solve anxiety? This is how I usually solve it, which is just make a decision. Just forget, what I do, I start making like pros and cons charts. Oh, this one, pros are this, cons are that. Like I try to optimize myself for the best situation. But now, as I've gotten older, I just try to ignore that entirely. And I think, okay, I have three options. This is the one I believe works best and I'll be happiest with. I'm going to just go with that, right? I think just looking at it on the outside and, doing a little bit of research, not too much analysis, doing a little bit of research into it, seeing how other people have promoted it, I'm just going to pick that, right? So if you're depressed, look for options. And if you're anxious, make a decision, right? Choose the option. So look for options if you're depressed. And if you're anxious, choose the option, any option. And just go with that. Stick to it. Don't look back. So if you feel like right now you are depressed or you're anxious and you're not happy, one, remove all the shoulds, haves, or have tos from your life, right? Whatever anyone says, this is a fundamental. You need to change yourself fundamentally for this, right? And I'm talking just shallow on all of this because it's a really deep topic that you have to truly understand to really get where I'm coming at. If you have have tos or if you have should or I need to do this, then what you're doing is setting up a desire in your mind. Every time you set up a desire, there's something that's unfulfilled. There's a goal that you have to reach and you never get to reach it because you're already at the starting point, right when you say that desire, right? So right now, I can say I want to make $1 million a month, right? All of a sudden, that's a new desire I take on, right? And that's something I'm not achieving. And so what's going to start happening is as I start taking on more and more new desires in my day, I start saying, oh, I want a girlfriend. That's another goalpost I have. Oh, I want to clean my room. Another goalpost I have. Oh, my coffee isn't hot. I wanted it to be hot. That's another goalpost I have. These tiny things accumulate over the day and over the weeks, months, years. And what happens at one point is that our brain can no longer handle all these failures that we have in our head. And so what starts happening is you start compartmentalizing this as depression. You start seeing, I feel down. Why do I feel so down? Well, maybe it's because over the past 5 years, you haven't achieved any of the things that you've wanted because you're so distracted going in different paths. And you can't see this because it's such a slow growth of pain. It's slowly, every single day, you start realizing, I'm getting closer to my death. You start getting older and you realize, I haven't hit any of my goals. Right? And so this is what happens to most people who are depressed. They just have these accumulated desires that never get met. And they have so many that it's just like, sure, some of them they do meet. Like maybe they do get the hot coffee, but they never make it to 1 million a month. And so they classify themselves as failures because they took on so many desires that are unable to be achieved. And so the best way to do this, to fix this problem, is also to just remove all your desires. Either that, you either remove all your desires, which turns you into a monk. That's what monks do. They just remove all desires, right? They shun everything to the side. No sex, no women. Forget about the money. Forget about materialistic things. Just go out, live, and meditate, right? And they live very stable lives. There's no up and down every single day. There's no happiness left in their lives, right? There's no happiness. There's no concept of happiness or sadness. There's no like troughs. It's just a straight line if you think of life in terms of emotions. But for you in the modern day, you probably have good days and then you have bad days, good days, bad days. I try to fall into the secure, stable, or stable growth at least, right? I try not to think of downs. Even if I see downs, I see it in a positive light, right? I'm like, dang, my business isn't making money. Wonderful. I have zero things to stress about right now because my business isn't making money, right? Oh no, my videos aren't getting views. Wonderful. If I slip up in one of these videos, if I say something that could get me canceled, no one will care. Maybe 20 people would care, right? There's so many ways you can see the world. And I'm making these up on the spot because I'm so used to it, right? The way I did it was to simply start gratitude journaling every day. So all I would do, I'd take a piece of paper and write down, okay, I'm grateful for this, right? I'll think of the most shitty days, like even through the most shitty days. Just every day I had this habit. Every day I got to write down, I don't know, I got a 40 on my test, right? I'd write down, I'm grateful for this 40 on my test. It shows me what I need to do to improve for next time. It shows me that my work ethic isn't as strong as I thought it was, right? I don't know, we get into a car crash. I'm grateful for that car crash because it showed me how fragile life is. And now I get the opportunity to get a new car, a newer one, rather than this broken car, which the brakes don't work. The wiper fluid always runs out really quick. And, you know, I was going to break anyways in like a year. And so there's just so many ways to see the world in positivity that nobody sees it that way. And there's a extreme to this as well, where people start seeing the world so positively that they start becoming irrational about it. This is going to the extreme, right? Where they see something like, oh, that's great, you know, oh, I didn't make any money this week. Oh, what a great time. It's like at some point you have to be rational about it. And so there's this one book by this guy. His name is Jed McKenna. I think that's his name. There's a book called Rational Optimism. You can look it up. And this is pretty much what I'm talking about. It's being rational, right? It's not going to the extreme of seeing the positive in anything and deluding yourself. It's seeing like, okay, I want to be positive about most things, right? I want to be positive about the outlook of the future. I want to be positive about where I might go, what might happen with my life, what might happen with my spouse, my work, all this kind of stuff. But you're still being rational about it, right? You're still thinking, okay, if she is not cooperating, if you're talking about your wife, for example, if she's not interested in me, I'm not going to think about it positively. I can see the world as it is. I can see truth. And I will hope we can figure this out, but if it doesn't work out, that's okay as well, right? That is rational optimism. And following that will get you out of a lot of these depressive or anxious moments because you'll start seeing the world positively, but also as it is, right? You will see that, oh, I got fired from my job. Oh, we broke up. But then you'll start seeing it in a positive way, right? Not to the way where you're deluding yourself, where you're saying, oh man, I'm such a great guy, you know, she doesn't even deserve me anyways. You start thinking like, okay, I see I messed up here, I messed up there. And you know, I'm grateful I break up so that the next person doesn't have to deal with these things, right? She doesn't have to deal with my stuff anymore, all the things I messed up on. And so there's just positive ways to see everything. Even recently, I'll talk about an example in my own life. I applied to like every single Ivy League college, right? These are like the best schools in the United States, in the world actually. and I applied to all of them, got rejected from all of them, right? And most people, I've seen these videos online, they start crying. Like, oh, I didn't get into the Ivy League. I was there with my friends. We recorded in this exact same room. We were laughing. Oh, I didn't get in. Oh, it was just a fun time. And that's because I don't have these downs, right? And my friend even texted me that day. He's like, yo, like, do you want to talk about it? I'm like, talk about what? I was pretty oblivious to the situation. He's like, like your college rejections, like, you want to talk about it? I'm like, yeah, I got rejected. What do you mean? And he's like, oh, I thought you'd be like a little more, hurt about it. And in that moment, that's why I wanted to make this video, because I realized that people just classify things as bad to cry for no reason. I don't see it as a bad thing. It's like, yeah, I got rejected from the most selective colleges in the world, obviously. Like, I didn't expect to get in anyways. So, again, there's no expectations, there's zero desires, right? The desire, of course, was to go to the school, but I'm not sitting here crying about it. It's just like, yeah, it is what it is, rational optimism, right? I can still make the best of wherever I go. And so, that is how I see the world and how it helps me to not really feel depressed about anything, not feel anxious ever, or really not even just feel sad emotions at all. I'm just always just in like a stable state. It's living like a monk in modern day, not those stupid monk mode protocols where you turn off your phone, right? Oh, let me delete everything, put it on grayscale. That's not what I'm talking about. This is the monk mode mentally, of understanding that the only way you can struggle in the modern day is if you have desires. I think this is an ancient Buddhist wisdom, right? Where the monks come from. Desire is suffering, right? And every time you desire something, you put yourself through more and more suffering until eventually you take on so much suffering that you feel like you're depressed, that you can't get out, that you feel trapped. You need to get rid of your desires. Your desire to make money, your desire to have the perfect spouse, your desire to have the perfect sex, to lose your virginity, to anything you have that's dark and deep inside you that you never share with anyone else. You need to lose those desires, because as they rack up, I guarantee you that you are going to end up in a worse place if you're not able to fulfill them. And so, to put this in a rational perspective, the thing is, you probably don't want to become a monk. What you need to do is pick a few desires. Pick 1, 2, or 3 that you want to fulfill, right? Maximum 3. I have 3 right now. Only 3 desires that I want to fulfill. Everything else I don't care about, right? I don't care about getting a Lamborghini. I don't care about, oh, I want the best protein shakes in the world. I want the best gaming laptop in the world. I have the same computer from like 3 years. The screen is falling off, right? I know I can go afford a new one. I don't want to. I don't care, right? It's like my clothes are pretty full stashed. I don't care. They fit me. I can go out with them. They don't look dirty. They look nice. Like, it's not a problem to me, right? We have a car. It works. The only 3 desires I have, I'm not going to tell you my goals. Actually, I will. I just want to make like $1 million a year. That's one desire. I want to get to 170 pounds in body weight while keeping a 6-pack. That's a low body fat. And then I want to keep the relationship with my girlfriend steady and stable. That is it. 3 desires. The rest, everything else does not matter. It's just, oh no, my milk didn't warm up in the morning. Alright, whatever. Does it get me closer to my goals? No. Forget about it. Like, oh yeah, whatever. It's cold milk, I can drink it. Right? It's just, you need to stop taking on desires at every moment. You see someone buy something new and you can't sit there and be jealous and be, man, I really want that shirt, or I really want that dress. I really want that shirt. You just need to stop. Just stop. Like, that's the best advice I can give. Just stop thinking. And only choose 3 things to think about, and that's it. And I guarantee you'll make progress in those things, right? Because your focus is very stable, it's very steady. And you'll stop feeling so depressed because you have something to make progress on. So if you're at a low right now, you have nothing to lose, right? You've lost everything, but you have nothing to lose. Start at the lowest goals possible. Set 1 desire today. Make your room clean, right? Set another desire today, right? You're going to brush your teeth. And every single week up the desires to become a more normal, functional human until you get to the point where you feel like, okay, I can take on bigger things that take a little longer to get into, right? Okay, you know what? I'm just going to go to the gym 3 times a week. That takes a little longer, right? And then you know what? For the next month after that, I'm going to go to the gym 4 times a week. Next one after that, 5. Start so small you feel stupid and just up it from there. I guarantee you'll get out of the depression because your desires are set so low that they're easy to achieve. And so that is all I have for you guys today. I hope I'm able to get you out of depression or anxiety, and I hope you're able to get out of these feelings that you feel, because I know we're human. I know we have these, but you don't need to have them. You're making it a choice, and you can leave it right now. You do not need to feel depressed. That's it. All right. I'll see you guys later.